Andrea is the first Singaporean trans woman to appear on the cover of prestigious international publications like L'Officiel and the New York Times Style magazine, and was crowned Miss International Queen Singapore 2020. With 13 years of experience in the beauty industry, Andrea also runs her own beauty empire and uses her voice and influence to speak up for her community.
Andrea Razali!
Thank you so much, Harris, for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here.
My pleasure. Okay, so Andrea, we've heard the stories shared by Cohen and Cohen in the documentary before this. I mean, I for one am so glad that this very powerful narrative is being shared with all our audiences right now. I just wanted to ask, how do you relate? How did it make you feel when you heard their stories?
Well, Harris, this is a narrative that a lot of Singaporean trans youth have to go through when they go to school. For me, when I went to school, it was not a very positive experience. It was actually very isolating. When I went to school, I felt a lot of fear. I felt a fear of coming out to my peers and my school teachers because I felt like they just couldn't get me. They just wouldn't understand because they were cisgender. And on top of that, the Singaporean education system does not work in favor for trans youths. I feel like Singaporean trans youths have to basically put themselves aside, put their dreams of becoming themselves and becoming their true selves aside in order to finish their education. For me, I had to live life as a cisgender male for 23 years so that I could graduate. And I think that's a narrative that a lot of Singaporean trans youths shouldn't have to go through. They shouldn't have to make that decision. On top of that, transgender representation in Singapore is basically non-existent. So due to lack of representation of trans people in Singapore and women like me in Singapore, I feel like the Singaporean society has a very negative narrative of trans people, and because of that, trans people who are not out are afraid to live the truth. And to be honest, for me, the reason why I decided to come out and just go through with whatever I've done and go through my transition is because I really wanted to find true happiness. I wanted to experience what it's like to finally be in the body that I've always wanted to be in. And I firmly believe that the longest journey starts with a single step. And here I am now on the inaugural Pink Dot stage next to another queen.
Oh my God, and here we are. You know, when I first met you, you haven't transitioned. And now look at you!
Oh, thank
Amazing
you.
crown!
Thank you so much.
International Queen Singapore.
Thank you, Harris.
So you have this platform and you're an entrepreneur, you run your own business.
Exactly.
How do you use this platform that you have to champion this cause?
Well, Harris, it's 2021 and transgenders now, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we now have a voice. So what I'll do is I will use my platform to shed light on the issues that transgenders face on the daily, and also politically. I will basically use my voice and my platform to tell all these trans youths that don't afraid to be yourself, don't afraid to be who you want to be. Have the courage to go ahead with what you want to do, because there will be people behind you. Find people who support you, who love you for who you are. Find people to empower you in whatever you want to do, because the longest journey starts with a single step, and that journey starts with you.
Wow, power girl, power. Very good. Okay, so lately we've heard, stories, the transgender issue is coming right there, front, right and center. I'm glad, right? And I wanted to ask you, as a community, as a society, as a country, what can we do to make it safer, to make it a kinder place for the transgenders in Singapore?
So I'm just going to share with you a story about that. So in the corporate world, transgenders face a lot of discrimination, Harris. There's so much discrimination against transgenders in the workplace. I myself have experienced it myself. I've had so many corporate doors slammed in my face in the corporate world. And I think this is a narrative that has to stop, because many transgenders come to me and say, Andrea, I don't really like the job that I'm doing but I have to do it anyway because I'm trans and no one else would accept me for who I am. Nowhere else would accept me for who I am. And I firmly believe that transgenders have hopes and dreams just like everyone else, you know? And I feel like equality is for everyone. I feel like equality is a human right and it's not something which is a privilege. On top of that, transgenders are not part of the nation's fabric and it's so sad. I haven't heard of any stories of transgender people who have made it, who are successful, be broadcasted in the mainstream media. And that is so disappointing. I feel like that narrative needs to change because transgenders are here now. We are present and we are out and we want to be proud.
Yeah. And not only are we here, we are on the cover of L'Officiel, a New York Times star. Wow, cover girl. Wow.
High five.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. At the corner of my eye while we were talking the whole time, it's a more pageant queen, right? And my eye was like, what is that shiny thing on the table there? That shiny thing over the table there. I was like, you brought your tiara.
I did. I bought my Miss
Oh my gosh. So,
Queen crown.
you know what? I have to do this. You know, it was just an amazing story.
Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my sublime honor to crown Andrea Razali Miss International Queen Singapore. Oh my God, oh my God. Sorry, cannot, COVID. Like, okay, cannot cry, mascara. Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Harris.
It was such a pleasure having you here, darling.
It was such a pleasure to be on the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody out there, Andrea Razali, everybody.